AJ, and I am your host. When someone commits a crime, we generally know pretty well how to, give appropriate punishment through the legal systems that we have. But when we commit a crime against God, such as wearing mixed fabrics or women speaking in church, having dark thoughts, working on the Sabbath, lusting after someone, or wearing the clothes of the opposite gender, even spilling your seed on the ground. We are sinning, and the punishment for sins, well, I don't really know exactly what that is. There's just so many different ones. So let's just say, if you want to chat with us about sins and whether sin even exists, you can dial 984 400 5656 because Critical Call is starting right now. Hey, what's up? We're here with Steve, and I'm gonna let you pronounce your name because I always fuck it up.
It's all good. It's Jacatis, Steve Jacatis.
Okay, like Chicaris.
Yeah.
Got it better. All right, perfect. Now we know. We got that out of the way.
There we go.
So what have you been up to? Doing
Oh,
good?
just too many things, too many podcasts, too many things. I'm probably saying the same message over and over and over again, but hopefully it's getting through. So.
That's cool. What are you gonna be on? Like, look, you can say other shows' names and stuff.
Oh, actually, there's a podcast coming out on Sunday called The Irrational Podcast, where I actually spoke to a Christian apologist. That was actually really interesting. And we discussed things like morality and other things that it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out when they piece it together and put it out. So I'm looking forward to seeing that on Sunday.
That's cool. Is it like a debate or it's just like a conversation?
No, it was more like a conversation, and actually went really well. The whole premise was to try and find the irrationality in people's worldviews. And so it was actually, I kind of put a nuanced spin on it, so I think people will enjoy.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing that one.
Yeah, for sure.
So, for those that don't know you very well or at all, you're an author. What's your book about? I mean, the title is right there. So.
Yeah, so it's called Humanism from the Heart, Building Bridges Beyond Belief. It started off as a blog on Medium. I was actually blogging through Recovering from Religion. There's a blog that they have called Excommunications on Medium. And I started blogging about my interfaith relationship and raising children in an interfaith household. And people really liked it. So they were like, hey, you should put this together into a book. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. So I compiled all the articles I'd written, and I posted a thing on Facebook saying I'm writing a book if anyone has any cool stories from when we were younger. And I got a message from a random person that I didn't know the name, and she said, you probably don't know who I am because I'm from your past and I'm using a pen name because I'm an author, and I'd like to edit your book for free. And I'm like, I can't argue with free.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. So she looked at it and she took a few days, and then I got a message back saying this is no good.
Oh no.
And that was a big hit to the heart because I'm like, wow, I put my heart and soul into this, and this is something I really wanted to accomplish. But I'm like, you know what is it that needs to change? And she said, well, you have a really good message here. There's a lot of heart to it. There's a lot of there's a good message, and it's just not a lot of substance. It's not linking. There's something that's missing here. And I'm like, oh shoot, okay, well maybe I just won't do a book then. So I kind of shelved it for a while. And I was doing a few podcasts here and there, and I was hosting a podcast for Humanist Canada, which, if anyone doesn't realize, from the Aboots and the A's, I am from Canada. But Humanist Canada is kind of the group that oversees humanism in an official capacity within our country. And I'm actually licensed through them to be able to conduct weddings, funerals, and many meaningful life celebrations. So I was doing a podcast for them, and it was called The Voice of Canadian Humanism. And they were looking for a segment that was, along the lines of what it is that I do for the community, which is bridge building. And so I'm thinking of some names, and I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of like from the heart, so maybe humanism from the heart. And I'm like, never mind, don't use that. I'm going to use that for my book. So then I'm like, I had the title, I had it all good to go. And then I'm like, okay, now I just need to make the magic happen. So I stared at the computer for a while and hoping that something happened. And it didn't right away. But, I did come up with the subtitle because I'm like, what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Well, I'm building bridges, and it's beyond belief. So yeah, let's just do the alliteration there. And it worked really well. And then once I had the name, it's like all the ideas started flowing out, and I was changing all of the articles I'd already written, and they became chapters. And the cool thing about the chapters in my book is they're very short. Like I kind of have an ADHD brain. So I write the way that I read. So, it helps a lot of people if they're looking for something to digest really quickly. But I put it all together, and I handed it back to the editor, and she went, wow, you nailed it. So at that point I knew, okay, I have something here. And, it's just been kind of like a labor of love for the last couple of years. And I finally put it out last year on World Atheist Day, March 23rd, which is coming up again. So it's a 1-year anniversary. And if you keep an eye on my website, stevejacatis.com, there is going to be an announcement soon about maybe a contest or something where people can win copies for them and a friend.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll make sure to advertise it because I have a copy right there. We met before the last conference that we met at NanoCon. And right before that, I think it was like a month before, you wanted to be on my show. And so you let me have an online copy. And I read through that, and then we did the show together, and you were like, you know what, I'm going to give you a copy when I meet you, and you kept your promise. So
yeah, no, I'm really glad that you liked it, and I'm really glad that you found it to be helpful in your own personal circumstances. So that's
oh my gosh,
been good.
It's helped me so much over the last 9 months, for sure. It's been because I think when you deal with certain specific struggles, we have a tendency to immediately react without thinking about the consequences of what our words or our actions are going to do to the other person that we're reacting against, I guess you could say, right? And I feel like what your book taught me was that instead of reacting, I should be responding to things. And we're like, hey, if we don't believe the same thing, if we have a disagreement of like a personal thing, if we are going through a hard situation, then there is always a way to resolve it. Mostly always a way to resolve that, right? And it is the best way to do it is through respectful and calm conversations. So like not do the reacting as much. And it just helped me so much to do that. I keep telling people that it's my new Bible. It truly is, because it has so many, like you said, like all these little chapters. Each one has like a different sort of message. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But y'all better read it because this is good stuff. But like each chapter has its own sort of message that you can take from it for different types of situations that you can, sort of turn around and apply to your own life. And be like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know, like the one where you were in the supermarket and this guy approached you about your shirt. And, instead of like having a completely negative interaction with this person, you were like, you know what? That's not something I want to do. So I'm just going to take the high road and walk away, or like say something sort of funny or whatever. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. And what you're saying about resolving conflict, like, sometimes it's not possible, but at least you're trying your best, right? And Maya Angelou always says, do your best until you know better. And then when you know better, you do better. And I try to keep that message alive in the work that I'm doing and kind of in the book as well. And it's funny that you referred to it as a Bible. I see the Drew Beckius is here. Hey, Drew. Drew actually pulled me aside. I think it was at NanoCon, and asked me if I did 31 chapters on purpose. Because he said it was kind of like a devotional, which is kind of cool. So no, it wasn't. It was completely by accident. If there's any hidden messages in it, backwards writing that says I am Satan or something, I mean, it was all accidental.
Oh yes, somebody should try reading it backwards and see what happens. So okay, we have a super chat. Yay! You guys can send super chats if you want to. We deeply appreciate it because it helps keep the show running. It helps the producers pay for the program that's used to do this, the audio, the calling studio, all that stuff. 5 Canadian real money from Yahooligan. He says,
Awesome.
He says, I love the show. Who's from Canada? He says he loves the show. Okay, and it was he loves BajaCon. BajaCon.
So if you can see the shirt, BajaCon, because I only own one shirt. The graphic I gave you and what I'm wearing today. So now BajaCon is an amazing. Well, first of all, Baja, Blue Water Atheists, Humanists, and Agnostics of Sarnia, Ontario, is an amazing group. They do amazing things. They have this conference every year, which is unbelievable, and everybody has to make it if they possibly can. It's really close to Michigan, so you just have to drive over the bridge there, the Blue Water Bridge. And there's tons of amazing speakers. That's actually where I met Drew Bickius for the first time. A lot of people I met there, and Jason, who's I think in the crowd, is one of the main organizers. So.
Yeah, I really wish I could go, but how it be right now. I want to.
That's what I'm feeling about NanoCon. I really wish I can come to NanoCon this year.
I know, right? Like, there's so many really cool, and Rocket City Rion is also happening this year, which will be amazing.
Yeah.
It's their very first year, and it's run by Godless Engineer and his wife Casey.
Yeah, amazing people too.
Yeah, and they have a really cool lineup. Telling you, I wish I could go to all of them, but I can only make it to one of them because I'm broke, and also because traveling, is gonna be tricky right now. Going to Canada wouldn't be a possibility because I'm afraid that I wouldn't be allowed back in. Like, I want to go visit my parents in Switzerland, but same thing. I can't make it. I'm like, what if I'm not even allowed back in and sent back to my original country, or like held in some cage somewhere for months,
Yeah.
So,
and I'm still an ambassador with Recovering from Religion. And today I noticed in the Slack chat that Emily Shine is going to be tabling at NanoCon, and I was like, I really wish I could join you. And,
nice. I'll come say hi.
Gail will be there again as well. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I'll come and say hi. I'm actually speaking at NanoCon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah,
so
really happy to see your face up there.
Really cool. Yeah.
Your hair looks.
Somebody in the chat is telling me to come stay in Canada.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am an emotional support Canadian, so I have to make room for everybody. So.
Yeah, I will.
But the picture on the NanoCon has your hair as very different. So I don't know if everyone knows the story about why your hair looks different.
Oh, you know what? You're right, because I did submit another photo. I'm gonna have to take a new one and send them the new one. Yeah, you're right. Before they put it up for all the other stuff, because when I was like on the main advertisement that just came out, but we're still months away from it, so there's time for upgrade.
I was just wondering if everyone in the crowd here knew about why you shaved your head.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Speaking of cool stuff, so this shows that we're on right now, Critical Call. The very first one that we did 3 weeks ago was with Seth Andrews, and it was a fundraiser that we were doing because I was raising funds for St. Baldrick's. So St. Baldrick's is an organization that provides funds for childhood cancer research. So I think so far, over the 25 years that they've been around, they've given over $350-ish million in grants to different, any kind of research. It could be like for drugs, or it can be for certain treatments, for cures, for all kinds of things. And so here in Houston, we had, a few weeks before that, my husband and I went to this Irish pub, and they were having like a small chili cook-off fundraiser for it. I knew about the organization because I've done this before, but it was like 2013. It was a long time ago. So we stopped by and they're like, oh yeah, we've been hosting this specific one for 20 years. Like, you should join. And I was like, okay, I might. And so I did. And anyway, so last Sunday we did the actual event and it was 25 people that were shaving, including myself. And then each person raises funds individually as well as a group. They have, like I said, the chili cook-off. They have a sort of like a fun run and all kinds of different events that lead up to the shaving event. And so by the time I got there, we had raised $25,000 online, but then $10,000 more at that specific event with like auctions and stuff like that. And they had a donation match from like a large corporation that was like, hey, if you raise this much, we will donate 50,000. And so we raised almost $100,000 total.
That's so crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. Pretty awesome. So I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. Hair grows back. So, and I'm actually loving it. I'm loving it because like, I don't have to towel dry it after.
Less money on shampoo, you know.
Exactly. Less money on her products. I used to use a bunch of stuff and dye it and colors and like none of that stuff anymore. Before I come on the show, now I don't have to do hair and makeup. All I have to do is makeup.
So I skipped the hair and makeup today, and I really apologize for that.
You should have put your makeup on.
Like, I should have.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. So so it was a really great experience, and I will likely do it again at some point. Maybe not next year, but because I probably won't have that much hair by next year to shave off anyway. But I'm planning on keeping the shaved hair for a while. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. I think it looks good. I don't mind. I don't think it looks bad. So
I think it looks great. It suits you very well. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's wigs, right? So
yeah, you can just play something new every day, right?
Yeah, like I can do blonde or I can do like dark black hair, short, long, whatever I want. Yeah. So it's gonna be fun.
Do you have an idea of what it is you're going to be speaking about when you do NanoCon this year?
Oh yeah, I do actually. One of the people in the chat, the Prophet of Arab, Ela, he's going to be joining, and Secular Gravity, as well as Chad Harris, and we are doing a panel. So I was the one that sort of offered to do the panel, so I'm going to be leading it, and we are going to do it on toxic masculinity. And I chose men because like I want to hear how they deconstructed their toxic masculinity, right? And also men tend to, who are a little bit toxic, they tend to listen more to other men, right? But we don't want to be like an all man thing. So like I was like, okay, a woman talking to men about it would be a good setup for that. So
yeah, definitely. That's gonna be a really cool topic. And you know what's really funny is that kind of out there in the manosphere right now, there's a lot of chaos happening where people are actually like apologizing and maybe even getting softer on some of the things that they were saying, which, you know, at this point, I don't know if we can trust them and accept an apology. But at this, it's neat to see what's happening right now.
It's pretty, it's rough.
It's this whole war on empathy thing is just so crazy to me, you know, to see, you know, it's instead of walking in people's shoes, like we used to say, you know, try and walk a mile in someone's shoes. They're like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. That's really stupid and whatever. And I just feel like this is, you know, it's disheartening to see how, you know, empathy is being used as a bad word now. And there's even people that are writing books on how empathy is like the devil or whatever. And it's kind of insane to me.
The devil, yeah. I hadn't heard about that one, but I'm not surprised at all because I've heard about empathy. It's a pretty weird concept. Like, why would you think that's a weak thing to show, like to have, to experience, right? To be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and walk their walk and be like, oh crap, okay, that's not how I would want to be treated or what I would want to be have done to me, you know, and such.
Right. But especially when, it's usually the Christians that talk about Jesus, and just the message of like love thy neighbor, right? It's just funny to see those are the people now that are saying that empathy is a bad thing. So
Yeah, okay. So reminder to people to call the show. You can call at the
definitely.
number 984-400-5656, or at the in the description, and I think in the chat. Okay, yeah, I see it in the chat. There's a link, and you can call if you don't have access to your phone or whatever. You can call from your computer as long as it has a microphone.
Yeah, and you don't have to disagree with us. We like talking to friends as well.
Oh yeah. And if you're a theist and you want to call about sin, like this isn't a debate, like we are here to have a conversation, a respectful conversation. Like we said, Steve has a book on how to have better relationships and better conversations. So we are pretty chill people to talk to about this specific topic. So
yeah, it was really funny. So I had an email from somebody who was really disappointed in my book and called me mean or something, which is really funny because it is a very like generous book, towards other people. I mean, the main idea of it is just to show how like what you can accomplish living life as a humanist. I'm not even really trying to push anything down anyone's throat. It's not really a guidebook by any means. It's more like, this is what happened to me, and this is just a day in the life of Steve. But it's really funny. Someone sent me a really nasty email, and I was telling Seth Andrews about it at BajaCon. No, maybe it was at NanoCon, and he said, well, if someone thinks that Steve Jakatis is mean, then they got a real problem.
seriously, like you and Seth, and for Seth to say something like that, you know how he is. He's like the peacemaker, like
Yeah.
the buddy voice of reason. Yeah. So like, how can somebody? I've never seen you like be a dick to anybody, despite the rumors.
Yeah, for sure. And I try to channel my inner Seth Andrews when I was doing the audiobook for my book. So I always say I'm the Timu version of Seth Andrews because I have a pretty thick Canadian accent in there, so I can't really hide that too well.
Yeah. But some people will criticize anything. So that joke about being a dick came from a post that you made. And it was literally one word, and I cannot remember why that was going around. And it was something like you put the word potato or something like that in a Facebook status, and somebody just went off about how you were a dick, and like he was serious. He wasn't even joking about it. And then from there it just went on, and now we just.
Well, it started off because I posted the word empathy after
was it.
After
Empathy.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
Okay.
I put the word empathy just like in white letters on a black background, and the amount of hate that I got for just posting the word empathy was like insane. And I was getting like personal messages, like death threats and everything, and it was just so crazy.
Wow.
So then I just posted the word potato, just to kind of like as a cheeky joke, to just be like, you know what, this is a word, like just take it easy.
What? Yeah, they just got it out.
It's kind of funny. Yeah. And then someone was like, what do you mean by potato? And it was actually like a serious thing too. And I just kept thinking of like what's his name, Jordan Peterson, what do you mean by believe?
Oh yeah. That's a good one. I guess we could have put banana, and do a Ray Comfort.
Yeah. Well, the original story in my book, when I posted the no one pretends to be an atheist, that was the one chapter that I wrote, which is basically pointing at the fact that, like, a lot of people pretend to be Christian, or they pretend to be whatever, is the religion du jour in your area of the world. And not too many people pretend to be atheists, if any, because there's not really any benefit to that. So if someone tells you they're an atheist, it's pretty guaranteed that that's the truth.
That they are.
Yeah. So at the end of the very first one, and David Fitzgerald shared this out, and I loved it because it was really funny. But I poked fun at Ray Comfort, because at the end of the article I said, "How about them bananas, Ray?" or something like that. And then so David Fitzgerald thought that was hilarious, so he started like posting it out, and that's where it got a lot of like notoriety right away, which was really cool. And then David actually wrote a blurb for the back of my book, which was really cool.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Your book is pretty cool because it also has the foreword by Anthony Magnabosco. So
Yeah, and we got to
that's
meet
cool.
him at NanoCon last year.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. Yeah, so I was able to get him to sign my copy of my book. So now I have my signature and his signature in my copy of my book. So
That's
that was
awesome.
really cool.
I
It was a
love
really cool
that.
full circle moment to be able to meet him in person after he's helped me for so many years. I'm not sure if everyone knows the story of why that happened and why he ended up writing the forward to my book, but basically,
Sure, yeah.
yeah, sure. So I was raised as a free thinker. And I would like now looking back, I would consider myself an apatheist. I really didn't care about religion. It just wasn't a thing in my life. My mom did all the best practices without knowing it. She was raising me to, be empathetic to other people, to be open to hearing other people's worldviews and differences. And just it enabled me to have an open mind. So I would go to churches with friends. I would go to mosques. I would go to temples. Wherever anyone wanted to take me, I would go. And I would, experience the awe of the human experience. And I would just say, okay, these are all stories that are very similar, and people are trying to explain how we got here and where we're going. And that was kind of the foundation I had for my worldview. So I was kind of a secular humanist at a really young age without knowing what the label was. And so when I met my wife, I was actually joining the Masonic Lodge as a promise to my grandfather who had passed away. And when you join the Masonic Lodge, they say, well, you have to believe in a higher power. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess if I walk under power lines at a certain time, then I guess there's a power higher than me. So anyway, I said, yeah, sure, why not? I believe in a higher power. So like, okay, cool. So they allowed me in. They put a bag on my head. They brought me through the door, and they held a sword to my chest, and they're like, how do you come? And then someone whispers in your ear, in peace. So I'm like, in peace? And I'm like, okay. They pulled the sword away. And they kneel me down at the altar, and they say, who do you put your faith in? And then someone in my ear whispers, in God. And I said, in God, with a question mark? And they're like, hey, and they let me through. And so I stayed in for quite a bit. And at the same time, I was actually exploring the United Church of Canada, because that is the church that was associated with the Masonic Lodge. And I had just met a girl who became my wife later, who was also attending the United Church of Canada. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe there's something to this. Spoiler alert, there wasn't. But at the same time that I met her, I was going through that. I ended up attending church with her, and then started going with her and her family for a long time. So people just assumed that I was a believer. I even at one point wanted to get confirmed in the church, because I'm like, I'm going to be with these people. I might as well just, become part of the family and do the thing. And when I was speaking with the minister was like, you need to actually believe it. You can't just say you believe it, because I had kind of expressed my doubt. And
how do you make yourself believe?
Well, that's the thing, right? So I never really believed it. And then so at our wedding, her parents, who are amazing people, they said, we can't believe she married, or we were so happy she married a man who believes the exact same thing she does. And I'm like, oh shit, because I don't.
No.
So I started, having these feelings of anger more at myself than anybody else for duping people into thinking I was something I wasn't. So I went on a big tirade and started ridiculing people's beliefs and going down a really bad path. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of at the bottom of the barrel here. I need to find a way to overcome these issues and start building bridges and having cordial conversations. So I Googled that. And what popped up was Anthony Magnabosco and Street Epistemology International. And I was able to reach out to him on Facebook, and I said, hey, man, help me out here, because I'm having a really hard time. And Anthony took me under his wing and was super incredible, an amazing support system throughout my entire probably 6 to 7 year period, where I was really going through a big, emotional turmoil over this. And also at the same time, I reached out to Dale McGowan, who's also an amazing author on interfaith parenting and other relationships and stuff as well. And both of them just really helped me through that whole period of my life. And I owe a lot to them. And the reason why I was able to write this book in the first place is because they had given me the tools to rebuild those relationships, to be able to put it on paper and help other people with my experiences. So that is kind of the idea of, or the kind of where the history of me and Anthony was. And then when I was writing this book, I reached out to Anthony. I'm like, hey man, again, appreciate everything you've done for me. I just was wondering if you'd like to write the foreword to my book. And he was like overjoyed. He's like, oh, I'll get something to you like this weekend. And I'm like, oh no, don't worry about it. It's going to come out in a few months. Like, it's not a big deal. And no, he did it, and it was great. I loved it.
I love that. That's awesome because something you said that that about how that helped you because you felt welcome and like you were learning something from them, and that's like why we share our stories and why we talk to other people. It's like maybe your message or what we've been through will help somebody else. Like they helped you. So yeah, I feel like your book is now doing that for other people.
That's so amazing. I'm really glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Even if I can help one person, then the whole thing is worth it for sure.
Yeah.
It kind of ties in with the work I do with recovering from religion as well, because there's so many people who have called in, and I was able to be a peer support worker for them, like, to be a shoulder to cry on, and just the ear to listen. And I think that's an important thing that we need in this day and age, especially with like, the shifts towards the nuns, like people becoming less religious. And I think that there's a lot of people that are kind of in one of those like a crisis of like an existential crisis, right, where they are not knowing where to turn next. So I think places or organizations like Recovering from Religion, Secular Therapy Project, also like Secularizing US, right, like and Sunday Assembly and Oasis groups, like these kind of secular communities are exactly what people need when they're losing their community, losing their family. They need a new community and a new family to belong to. So
yeah, love that. So speaking of listening, we have a call. It's actually Amber. I think you've met Amber from her from New York, who's an atheist, a fellow community member, and she's asking, what even is sin? We haven't talked about sin yet. We were supposed to be talking about sin, but like we're sinning and not doing the thing that we were supposed
I mean, it was a clickbait title to try and get people to call, and so far it's not working, but
yeah.
Hey Amber, how's it going?
Hello.
Hey Amber, what's up?
We had one job to show sin doesn't exist.
I know we already failed. We haven't even blasphemed a little bit.
I can't blame you. I mean, it's a sin to not stay on topic, and that's a sin I myself am guilty of. My show is made of tangents. It's the whole thing. But I wanted to get first of all, I have a couple of answers to my own question because law stuff. Weirdly, this is relevant to law, like hugely. But I wanted to get your guys' opinions. If we're going to say a thing doesn't exist, what the heck is the thing we're saying doesn't exist?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think that what we're saying when we say sin doesn't exist is we're saying that the concept that's tied to the theological idea of sin doesn't exist. So if there is no deity, then there can't be sin. People use it colloquially to say, to mean harm. And I would just say, why use something that has theological baggage to it instead of using the word harm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the problem is that when religious people use the word sin, they're using it as a synonym for a crime or for doing something bad. But the actual definition of the word sin is to commit a transgression, I believe it is, against God, specifically God, not against the law of the land, not against another person. It doesn't say anything about what you're doing to another person, because some of the sins are like things that are listed at the beginning of the show, right? Like things like what you wear or what you eat or what you think about, what's in your head, right? And so like those can't necessarily be bad things that you're doing against anybody else, so that have any type of consequence against anybody other than God.
Yeah. And I think that's why, when we talk about secular humanism being a superior model, We're not saying that in like a snide way or anything. It's just that we don't have that same theological baggage that's attached to hating a group of people just because, you know, a supernatural deity says that you should.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that answers your question.
There's some interesting interplay in history involved in this conversation. First, as you may be aware, Sin was the Babylonian god of the moon. He went by a couple of different names, but Sin was a big one of them, and it was interchangeable. One was Sumerian and one was Akkadian, but everybody in the area used them interchangeably. I guess sort of like Yahweh and Jesus today. You know, people generally mean the same thing most of the time. And they had big old temples in the Fertile Crescent area that got rebuilt century after century after century. And this, of course, Sin was the moon god, the god of night, the god of lunar cycles, also the god of fertility, because it's kind of linked to lunar cycles, but also the god of cattle, because of the whole crescent moon thing. That was his emblem. And you'll notice nations in the area of Old Babylonia still tend to use a crescent moon on their flags and things. There is a relationship because this religion persisted throughout Roman rule and up until the Muslim conquest. So these ideas were still around when Islam was first starting to expand and still incorporating ideas from the cultures around it. So that's neat.
Super interesting, yeah.
Sin is also the father of the goddess that they called Inanna, but other people called Asherah.
Oh, Asherah. Okay,
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of Asherah.
Levantine lore, Canaanite stories and such. And in fact, you know, proto-Hebrew peoples considered Asherah to be the consort of El, and then later Yahweh, when Yahweh and El kind of fused together. So you could say that Sin is the father-in-law of Yahweh, which may explain why he hates it so much.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I like it. That's funny.
But
I have a question for you, Ember.
What we mean by Sin? Yeah.
Who's better than Ember?
How many?
Nobody.
Oh.
Nobody.
Ember today is better than past Ember. I'm more Ember than I was before.
There you go. You can always use more Ember.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's
love my fun. My original channel was supposed to be better than a religion, but that was taken, and I didn't want to add a bunch of numbers on the end or put a dash in, so I'm a sucker for wordplay, so I made it better than Ember.
I love it.
Because I was better than I was the day before, sort of thing.
It reminds me of the Better Than Ezra band as well.
Okay, I hadn't know that.
I'm not familiar with them, but that's the second time someone's said that.
Oh yeah, that's so funny. Well, I kind of grew up in the 90s, early 2000s, so that was a big band at the time.
Same. Well, but in Argentina, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's funny. I like that story because I wasn't familiar with that specific sort of connection to the word sin. Yeah.
Yeah, me either. That's really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's wild how rarely that stuff gets talked about because it did carry over from antiquity and still leaves. I mean, Yahweh gets all butthurt about I'm the bull god and whatnot. That's one of the reasons why. A lot of people are like, oh, the Egyptians had a big old bull god, and the Hebrew people during the Exodus, they made the golden calf, which is kind of like the bull god, but also there's a bull god in the other direction, and all of these things influenced each other. Remember, we're looking backwards with this telescopic lens of time. So past a certain point, like say, a couple millennia ago, it all kinds of seems like it blends together, like it's all the same general time period, but we're actually looking at a period thousands of years wide, and all this stuff that we're seeing from today, the stories all mingled and whatnot over these many generations. So it's fun, but also none of that has anything to do with sin, the English word concept, because that word comes from Old Germanic, which in turn comes from Proto-Indo-European, where it's not the same word. It evolved over the years, but the original concept was to to have a legal verdict rendered against you, like say you are guilty of this crime, which is one of the reasons that there's such a big crime element still persistent in the idea of what sin means. The older versions of what got translated using the word sin was more akin to you have fallen short or you haven't reached the goal. So in Greek, in the Septuagint, in Hebrew, and in many other cultures, to suggest sin means you're falling short of the glory of God. But in English and related languages, it means you are guilty of a transgression. And that is a huge difference in interpretation.
Yeah.
Shapes a lot of why fundamentalists might be the way they are.
Well, but that's the thing, right? Like the interpretations have changed so much over the last 2,000 years, and everybody just goes with whatever interpretation they want to go with, which is how we got here.
Yeah. And you can see how they can use it as a colloquial term, right? To be like a catch-all term for people who fall short of things. But I mean, it has a lot of baggage attached to it because of the association with the Bible and Yahweh.
Yeah, exactly. So I have a question for both of you guys. What is your favorite sin?
Ooh. Probably gluttony, because I like to eat so much.
Oh my God. I'm going to go with that one too. I just love food so much.
Yeah.
What about you, Amber?
Oh, there's so many to choose from, but I'm going to go with one from the original 10 Commandments because it's just the funniest one, so it's my go-to. I have yet to keep the Feast of the Unleavened Bread. I have primary commandment.
Yeast bread is pretty damn good, so I can't blame you for that. I mean, who wants to eat
I know. I just
flat bread?
have my yeast.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta have your yeast. Yeah, I mean, flatbread in the sense of flatbread is good, but like I'm talking about like unleavened bread. This like sounds pretty bad. I don't like that. And well, Steve, you said you were not ever really religious, so this probably doesn't apply to you. But Amber, while you were religious before, right?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay. So this may not
A
be the
long
best
story. I am
question
still a minister.
then.
Amber,
Oh,
I've heard
minister.
before that I've heard before that you were a minister. Is this a true story?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm still a minister, actually. I perform secular weddings now.
There you go.
Cool stuff. Well, the question I was gonna ask was like, while you were religious, if you ever felt really bad about sinning in a specific sin that you were committing, like if there was something that made you feel guilty or sort of like weak or whatever might be.
Not in a religious way. I mean, I felt bad about things I've done. I felt regret for hurting a person or multiple people. But despite my grandmother's best efforts to hammer Christianity into my head, it just never really took. About all I really got from her was this idea that Jesus wants to forgive everything. So it didn't really occur to me that God might be personally angry at me for a transgression, since all I knew of that religion was he wants to forgive you,
Okay, well that's nice that your grandmother at least tried not to harm you too much with it, because I feel like the concept of sin itself can be harmful for a lot of people. It can cause a lot of guilt, a lot of like people feeling like they're too weak and that they're won't amount to anything unless they have God on their side or unless they accept Jesus and all that stuff. And for me, while I was religious, one of the ones that I felt the most guilt about, and I think it was because it wasn't visible. It was like the idea that God hears everything, including your thoughts. And so if somebody was, an asshole to me and I was like, oh, I hate this person, I immediately felt like such deep guilt about like, well, I'm harboring hate in my heart and I'm, like God just heard that. Like, and I will like do the prayer thing or like I'm so sorry or like I will do this or that. Please forgive me.
It's the thought crimes thing.
Yeah. And it's like I don't know. I just feel like it has such a negative effect on people's mental health.
Yeah, definitely.
You
It
know,
reminds me of
when I was little,
sorry, go ahead.
I used to think that my grandmother could hear my thoughts because she always seemed to know when I was fixing to steal a cookie from the cookie jar, something like that. And as I got older, I started to like get this idea that adults could hear all kids' thoughts because, you know, teachers were usually pretty good at figuring out when the kids were up to mischief. And as I got older still, I was like, okay, a lot of the adults, as I got disillusioned about adults, I was like, okay, maybe the adults don't actually know what's going on. They just fake it really well. But some of the kids definitely can read each other's thoughts.
I have a funny one. Yeah, I have a funny story about that. So I don't know. I mean, I know a lot about brains and stuff, but I've never quite put too much thought into how this could have happened. But in Argentina, we lived like an hour's walk away from our school, and so we would walk to the school, and then sometimes the store was the only store in the entire area, which was like, it was like country. It was like right next to the school. So we will after school we will walk to the store, grab a couple things like bread and basics, and then make all the way the walk home. So because my sister and I were younger, we will walk with our brother who was a couple years older. And I remember this forever. One day we go to the store and we buy this bread, which was leavened for sure, because it was like big, fluffy, awesome bread. So we were walking back home, and I told my brother, "Yes, I do. I want a piece." He's like, he turns around and he's like, "I didn't say anything. I didn't ask if you wanted it, but I thought it. How did you know?" I have no idea, but I heard. I'm fucking deaf. But obviously, like I could hear enough in like very close distances from someone, so I would have been able to hear him say it if he had said it. But he said he didn't, and I heard it clearly. He asked me if I wanted a piece.
Yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of social cues and stuff as well, and like body language too, right? So like it might have been a thing where you interpreted his body language and then thought you heard it audibly. Even thinking back now, you might have added that as a secondary memory.
I'm thinking maybe more likely would be like a bird or something, because this was like like a path in the middle of the country, and there was like a lot of animals and stuff, and we were just walking, and nobody was talking at that moment, so I wasn't like looking at him or anything. I was just focused on like.
This is starting to sound like Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It kind of makes.
I've seen
Amber,
your hood before, so.
What about you, Amber? Do you have any? Oh yeah, I have. Well, the red ones. I don't have the red ones today, but
the red what now?
The red hood. She has like the
Red Riding Hood.
Oh. You can actually do it. That's amazing. No,
I have a hood on right now, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so no, I was wondering what do you think about that? What could have happened? How did I hear that?
Okay, so there's two possibilities that come to mind, and neither one is it's not definitely one or the other. It could be a third possibility that I haven't thought of. But the first is sort of like Steve was suggesting, that there could be nonverbal cues involved. Because remember, as we've often talked about before, language is literally the transmission of one idea from a brain to another brain using mouth noises. You can do the same thing other ways through body language and suggestion and other noises. Like, you don't have to use words to communicate a thought. It's just an efficient way to do it. Well, efficient for how we're set up biologically. The other is that you don't actually think using your brain cells the way you experience other sensory reception, right? Like, signals from your eyeballs go back to your visual cortex and get processed cell to cell to cell in an electrochemical signaling matrix. But the way your thoughts work is it's primarily, to keep it short and simple, it's brainwaves, right? It's more complicated than that. But TLDR, your thoughts are your brainwaves. They don't have to be in language. They don't have to be visual. They can just be like a sense or a desire or something like that. And if you know a person very well, then you might consider yourselves to be on the same wavelength. This is how friends can finish each other's sentences and stuff. It's partly predictive power and partly picking up on the brainwaves of the other person. If you're in close enough proximity, brains they aren't the best transmitters, but they do have a little bit of range outside your skull. And so it's not impossible that if you were on this vibe, this same wavelength, that the thought entered your brain by brainwaves as if it had been spoken, and your brain interpreted it as if it had been spoken.
That's a good point, because having low vision and low hearing tends to have like it's like a heightened different senses, right? Like my sense of smell is really good, and my sense of taste, and so it could be like that other type of sort of ability to perceive people's smaller movements or things. Like I pay attention to detail really and body language because I can't hear, and so I use that in order to be able to tell, oh, this person's facial expressions change. Even though my vision is lower, I can still see enough to be able to tell people's body language. And I was thinking while you were saying all that, Amber, that the very first part that you said, like sometimes you can do things with your body language that told the other person sort of part of the message of what they're trying to convey without using words. And when we were kids, I recall these long walks, and I was either looking up at the trees, yes, look at the trees, or looking down at the ground a lot. And because my brother was walking right next to me, there was a very high likelihood that the bag of bread, which I remember was clear, so I could see the bread in it, was likely toward the ground. Like he was a little bit taller than me, obviously, but like, so his hand would be low enough that him holding the bag would be within my vision if I was looking down at the ground. And so maybe he moved the bag in a way that made me think, oh, he's about to take a piece out and offer me a piece.
Yeah. Could also be repetition too. Like, is this the first time you guys went? Because there could have been previous times where you'd been walking home and also had bread, right? So it could have been just a repeat occurrence of that as well.
It was a routine, yeah. And like we will generally eat a piece of bread on the way because it was, like I said, it was like an hour walk and after school, so we were hungry. And
so that could have been it too.
It could have been deja vu, and you were remembering the previous time in the moment, like this is about when we should have the piece of bread or something. I think this is all just a clever cover for AJ has accidentally revealed that she does in fact have psychic powers.
Damn it. Now we've ruined it. No, and that makes sense. It makes sense because my brother could have been thinking the same thing, like sort of, oh, hey, this is because it was like right before a turn. He could have been thinking, this is around the time that I normally offer the bread. I'm gonna ask if they want a piece.
I like Scott's comment in there about how we finish each other's sandwiches. Unfortunately, no one has ever had the opportunity to finish my sandwich because I finish all the sandwiches.
Yeah, sandwiches are pretty good.
Sandwiches are our best invention.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You do know how much technology is only possible because of sandwiches? The fact that you could have a portable meal that you can hold in one hand so you can continue working on like a particle collider or something and not have to take a break to go eat. Oh my goodness, there's the best thing ever.
All the food groups in one handful.
Yeah, for sure. And like there are so many varieties. Like you can make them with meat, you can make them vegetarian, you can make them vegan, you can make them gluten-free, whatever you want. Sweet.
You can make pizzas into sandwiches too, lots of things.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We should probably not talk about food. We're gonna make all the chat get hungry and
Yeah.
leave us to go get food. All right. Anything else, Amboro, that you wanted to discuss or chat about sin or anything like that?
Oh, you know me. I could go on and on and on, but I think I better go get a sandwich before I eat my arm or something.
Don't forget to share.
Yeah. Share your arm with somebody.
I wonder if my arm is red. Is that a sandwich? I don't like.
Thanks so much for calling in, Ember.
So I'll see you on all the places, Ember. Thank you for calling.
Java and Jugs, check it out.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. And also go subscribe to Better Than Ember.
Because no one's better than Ember.
Exactly. Except for Ember. The next day.
Yeah, that's right. Or the next minute.
We do have another caller, which is Helen from they from Florida, and an atheist, also fellow community member. Do you think karma is the same as sin? Hey, Helen, do we have you on? Oh, yay, hi.
Hey, Helen.
Hey, lovely people. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm so glad I actually get to talk to you today. I didn't think I was going to get to.
I know. I'm really bummed about today. Steve was supposed to do my show today, but then my body said, fuck you. So that's okay. But I missed both of you guys, so I figured I would call in and because I wanted to pose this question because we usually think of sin in the Judeo-Christian sort of way of thinking. So I wanted to get your both of your thoughts on karma, and your is that like a more fair justice system if what we put out we get back, or do you think it's just random circumstance or whatever?
Yeah, I mean that's a really good question, and it's really cool because I was actually going to bring up karma if we had a caller that was going to bring up sin today. I was going to say, well,
I'm psychic.
There you go. So you and AJ are both psychic. This is great. We have two psychics on the show. But yeah, no. So I think that karma. So and I've always kind of thought of it this way: is that karma is it's what people call. I don't even know what the secular word for it is, but it's basically like you said, what you put out into the universe, you get back, and it's not in a supernatural sense. It's more like the way you treat people or the way they're going to treat you, right? So if you treat someone like shit, they're going to treat you like shit. And if you're really kind to somebody, then they're going to be kind to you in return. And so it's kind of like a reciprocal thing. And I think that's the best way to describe karma from a secular standpoint. But I don't even know what the word would be in the secular sense. What about you, Helen? What do you think?
I think it would be the social ramifications of behavior.
Yeah.
Consequences.
There you go. Consequences. That's
I'm a selfish altruist. I'm kind to people because they're kind to me back, and then they'll do shit for me, and I'll do shit for them, and then life goes a lot easier as tribal creatures. But also on the other end of it, I think people want to apply a sort of supernatural aspect to it because it's the same sort of justice, people that believe in heaven or hell, but instead of waiting, it's going to happen within the lifetime or instantly. And I think that's more of a satisfaction of justice. Because usually sometimes justice is not served. So, if someone does something terrible and they, die in a car accident the next day, then that person can say well, that's what they deserved, So, it's more that immediate feeling of justice rather than waiting for it, depending on which school of thought you're talking about karma.
Right, yeah, because I've heard it in different ways, right? I guess different levels of karma, sort of. Some of them, like you just mentioned, right? Oh, you did these bad things in the past, and then therefore this car crash must be karma for all of your past transgressions. But there are other sort of ideas of karma that I like a little bit more. I guess it's just a personal preference because I don't think that they're necessarily a real thing, right? But it is like if more like karma towards when you do something towards somebody else, because otherwise like it wouldn't make sense if you're I don't know, if I get karma for like destroying this computer or something, right? Like, because why? What is a bad thing, but who did I do that against? Like, really nobody. It's just the computer. um so I think in the sense of like having consequences for bad behavior towards somebody else, then that would be like a more immediate thing, like a I don't know exactly what example to give. Like if I eat all of Ember's sandwiches, then Ember has a right to retaliate against me, to like pass the karma back at me. But then that would be her behaviors. Yeah, I don't know if it's like, I guess it wouldn't be a natural consequence. I don't know.
And I know a couple
I'm
people have
rambling.
mentioned this in the chat here that karma comes from the Hindu faith, right? And I think in Hinduism, because I've done interfaith symposiums before with Hindus, and I think that the way that they describe it is it's basically like consequences that you bring into the next life with you when you're reincarnated. So it's like if you transgressed against your neighbor or something, then in the next life you're going to be like a fly, or you're going to be somebody who's like a pest or something like that, right? And I think that that's kind of the idea that they have in a supernatural context. So I definitely don't believe that. But if we use it again in a colloquial sense, karma just being consequences, as AJ put it, I like that.
There's also this sort of idea that in the woo-woo circles and in neo-paganism and like modern Wicca and things like that, of this idea of karma, where if you put a certain, like, let's say I want all of Ember's sandwiches for myself and make sure that she gets no sandwiches, and I do a spell to make sure I get all the sandwiches. Okay. But the thing is, though, is that now Ember, if she is a fellow witch and is spiteful, she could retaliate against me, and that energy would come back to me like threefold. So there's this sort of like this idea of like you can take immediate action to make the energies of the universe like work for you, which we kind of understood as like you enacting karma. But then if you like really dissect it, I'm like, they're just pissed off because you stole all the sandwiches and they want them back.
I think that would be called revenge. Yeah, I think that kind of consequence or karma is different than revenge.
Exactly. So anyway, it was just a question, because because there's different ideas on sin and karma, and but the idea that these are all just concepts of like social consequences for people that understood the world as they did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ember said she will just make bad sandwiches for you next time. Without the good ones.
Ember, there are no bad sandwiches.
That's because they're spiteful. Anyway, I'll let you guys continue on with the show. Steve and AJ, I'll have you both back on my show soon.
Awesome.
Anyway, have a good night, guys. All right. Thank you for having me on.
Love you, Helen.
Awesome. Thank you for calling. We'll see you around.
I like Scott Dickey also came back with saying that the no true sandwich fallacy. I thought that was funny.
That is funny. Okay, and Anjar said that there are bad sandwiches, shit sandwiches. So I can't. So. Yeah. But so like, what that call made me think about is like theists normally say, well, if there is no sin, that means that people can just do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel that way. I think that we have laws for a reason, right? Yeah. Because they are deterrents for people doing bad things to other people.
Yeah.
And not also, towards any deity.
Yeah, for sure. And there's also the social contract that we've established with
Mhm.
each other, right? The evolutionary traits that we used to survive back, 250,000 years ago, when we didn't know what was left from right, up from down, right? We knew that we had to stick together and we had to work together to survive. Otherwise, we would perish and we wouldn't be able to pass on our genes to the next generation. So we are the product of all of these people who were working together and building that into their genes. So we've developed this social contract over time. And there's evidence of that in, you look back, they discovered, I think it was a fossil, or not even a fossil, just like an actual body of somebody who had completely like a bum leg. And they said that this person was an old person. You could tell because their teeth had worn down and that type of thing. And they said the only way this person would have survived is if their tribe had helped them survive. So you can see that the social contract that we have with each other was present in the past as well. We also see it in other animal species, not just humans.
Yeah, I've heard about that story before. I think Forrest Vaca was talking about it a while back, and it's a really interesting story because it also shows like how even people that don't know each other or that are not related to each other can be each other's support systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other problem with the idea of sin is that it usually frames all of these normal human behaviors as a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we can move away from that. Like, we don't need this 2,000-year-old book to tell you about like what type of sex you should be having, or like how curious you should be, or like not to question authority, or like, yeah, obviously you're going to respect authority if like we respect the laws, like majority of people anyway respect the law. But this idea of blind authority, of blindly following authority, I can word sometimes.
Blind obedience.
Yeah, blind obedience. Thank you. Yeah, it's really harmful because it teaches people to be blindly obedient, not just to a deity, but then you have the lower levels, like, oh, okay, the government or your husband or so on and so forth. Like, sorry about that. We have a call, so we should probably. Oh, that's a good one. It's I'm gonna ask how this is pronounced, but Raziel, maybe Raziel. I'm just gonna go with that, and we ask him from Arizona, who's a theist and says that atheism doesn't make sense. So,
cool.
Hey, did I pronounce that right? I'm so sorry if I didn't.
Yeah, Raziel.
Raziel, okay, perfect.
Hey, Raziel,
Awesome.
How's it going today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before you get started?
Sure. Raziel, I deconverted from atheism. I was an atheist most of my life. An Eastern Orthodox Christian now.
Okay. And what was it that convinced you?
So I started thinking about atheism deeply, and it just, to me, runs into a lot of contradictions that it can't reconcile.
Okay. Can you just
There's no God.
Can you just define atheism for us?
Yeah, the not believing in any God.
Okay.
Okay. Good. Cool.
So lack of belief in a God, is that what you mean?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up. It's always good to talk about definitions first before we get started on things. And thanks for sharing a bit about your story as well. Was there something during the time that you were deconverting that was forcing you in that direction, or are you just thinking about life in general?
Oops. Are you still with us on the line? Well, I hope it didn't drop. Maybe they'll call back.
Hello.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, hi.
Got him.
You guys hear me?
Yep,
Sorry,
we can hear
I think it cut off for a second, but we're good.
I was just thanking you for sharing all that information. So no, it's really nice, to be able have a background before we start the conversation. So yeah, if you wanted to go ahead with what you wanted to say.
Yeah, so you had asked what started my deconversion. I was just arguing with theists. I still love to debate, and they would just make good points that I couldn't ever really answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it just grew like a seed inside me. And then later on, I had like a personal kind of coming to Jesus moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's more like on the personal side, whereas what really started me there was the logical necessity of God.
Okay. What type of logical arguments were they making that were convincing? Uh-oh, do we lose him again?
I wonder if it's like muted through the app. Let me check real quick. That's weird. It is still on there. No, I thought maybe like the crew accidentally muted it, but I see it and it is still going. Okay, so if you're calling through the web, Raziel, you may want to keep your mouse moving and not let your screen go dark, because then it cuts off the sound.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
And we're not able to hear you.
Sorry about that. I will apologize a lot because I'm Canadian. So.
Okay, you guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'll keep my phone on. Yeah, so where were we talking about?
No,
I was just saying that
what logical...
God is required to have objective sense of these things.
Sure. So what was the logical...
atheist...
I'm sorry, I'll let you go.
Oh yeah, in an atheist universe, you cannot get to objectivity on any of these matters. So when I'm presented with either atheism or theism, one just seems way better than the other. The theism, because I can get objective morality, I can get objective truth, I can get objective logic. If I go the other direction into atheism, it just reduces into absurdity in the end, right?
Okay. Yeah, so I think what you're saying is that if you're going to go down the path of atheism, then you can't have objectivity, and if you are going to go with a God, you're saying that the objective facts of the universe or objective morals come from this God. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And what would make them objective if they're coming from the mind of a deity?
Well, because it would be like a non-physical thing that's unchanging. So the universe...
Oh, you blacked out again there.
Whoops, I think you got cut off for a second again.
Okay. Yeah, so in the atheist paradigm, the universe is just particles in motion. There is no unchanging anything. Everything is in constant flux. And so the fact that we even see order and that we think there's objective reality in all these things is heavy evidence for a metaphysical being, a mind that is grounding these logics, these truths, these moralities outside of our reality. And
but I have a question though. Like if you are using God's sort of set of rules to follow to make sure that you're following that morality, how do we reconcile so many different interpretations from the same book, from the same Bible? For example, if I ask a Catholic about certain rules from the Old Testament that some Christians are using today, like the ones about not wearing the opposite gender's clothing, for example, to excuse transphobia. And then somebody says, yeah, that rule still applies today. And then a Catholic will say, well, no, we no longer use the Old Testament. So how do we reconcile which ones are morals that we are still supposed to follow today versus morals that were only set for, whatever timeline the Bible was written in.
Yeah, so we're fallen beings, and we're not perfect, so we're not able to understand everything, and we will disagree. But there aren't like Christians that believe morality doesn't exist. We're not arguing the subjectivity of morality. We'll argue about the specifics of morality, but we all agree morality in the Christian worldview exists, whether you're Protestant, Catholic, or like myself, Eastern Orthodox.
Right.
But
Okay.
so which one is the objective one, though? How do you
That's
determine
the
which
question,
one is?
right?
Yeah.
And I'm just
like,
wondering how you
it
get to
matters
objectivity if it's coming from a
about, like,
mind.
dress code.
Because if there's a mind that's involved in the decision, then it's a decision being made, which would be subjective. So I'm just wondering how you get to objectivity.
Well, God's mind would not be subjective because it's not in the physical. It's metaphysical.
So what is something that exists outside of time and space?
God.
What do we call something that exists outside of time and space? If it exists for a zero amount of time
God.
and in zero space.
God.
So you would say God. We would probably say nothing, right? Because if
Right, but the moment
exists,
you say nothing, now you're faced with all these contradictions.
But we're not saying that there was nothing. We're just saying that, like I'm saying, I don't think anything exists outside of time and space. I think time and space is kind of where it ends, right? Like that's where what we
Like
can
you
all
think only the
see as
physical
exist, right?
exists?
Well, that's all that we can see is existing.
Or like, right. So you can only see the physical, and you don't believe in anything that's metaphysical.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would need some.
So,
like, I think we would need sufficient evidence.
do you
to
then
prove
believe that logic exists?
So the concept exists, yes.
Yeah, there are things that we
Okay,
define.
do you believe in objective logic, or is it subjective?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And the thing is, a lot of times we will admit that we don't know exactly what is, out there. But for someone who, is making a claim that there's something that exists beyond that, I mean, there just has to be sufficient evidence. And you might have that sufficient evidence for yourself. It doesn't mean that we're going to be convinced of it.
Right, but you're going to ask for evidence, but you haven't even established logic in the worldview. So I'm saying,
no, I'm not really asking for evidence. I'm just trying to find out why you're convinced.
Well, because there's two options, right? Either God exists or he doesn't exist, A or B, right? There's no in between.
Well, I mean, there could be other gods that exist. There could be multiple gods. There could be no gods, right? There could be...
Right. You could do that, but like either at least one God exists or they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
So A or B. So let's say that A is atheism and B is God. If A, atheism is correct, you do not obtain logic, morality, and ethics in an objective way. It reduces into absurdity, and therefore it doesn't even make sense to go from that point anymore because you don't even have logic.
I don't think it's absurd. I think
so.
I think even the morality that we are attempting to get from God is subjective because it depends on the interpretation that somebody is getting from it. Like you admitted it earlier that everybody has a different interpretation.
If you believe morality is subjective, then anyone can just make up morality, right?
No, that's
you
not
would
true.
have no basis to say that Hitler did anything wrong if morality is subjective.
No, that's not true. We talked about this before. There's a social contract we have with other sentient beings, right? We have evolved over time to, take those survivability genes and pass them on to the next generation over and over until we get to the point where we're at now, which we're not perfect, right? There's still a lot of people who commit atrocities, and there's a lot of people who should be in jail or whatever for the rest of their lives because we haven't got to the point yet where we are at that the cusp of finding that common ground. And I kind of want to ask you a question on this, regardless of what our worldviews are.
Well, real quick, before you ask that question, I want to answer that point.
Sure.
Because that is still subjective. So you haven't given an
yes, it is subjective. No, it is subjective.
That we kind of agree to these things.
Yeah, no, it is subjective.
No one agrees.
Yeah, it's subjective morality, and we've developed it ourselves, right? This is something that we've built over time.
And it goes back to my original point that I say, if your morality is subjective, you can't say anything is wrong.
Well, we can go down a couple different paths here, but I just want to know so why is objectivity necessary?
Because otherwise it's just up to everyone's opinion and they'll just never be able to agree. There has to be an unchanging standard.
So what if it's up to everybody's opinion and no one agrees? Or
for example, a lot of these atheists like you, they'll take qualm with, like, for example, slavery in the Bible, right? Many of these call-in shows, they talk about the slavery being bad in the Bible.
Sure.
But if your morality is subjective, you cannot have a qualm with slavery.
That's not true.
Right?
Actually,
because we recognize harm.
Right. We have a scientific way of determining what causes somebody physical or mental harm.
Yeah. Have you heard of John Rawls'
No,
moral
that's
ignorance?
just a harm principle, and it would be subjective because from Hitler's point of view, it was perfectly fine to kill all those people.
From his point of view, but from a scientific point of view, he was causing harm.
You can't subjectively, like, it's just subjective. You don't have an objective standard, even if you claim like
subjectively
science.
We're a collective
from an
entity.
atheist point of view, we see animals killing each other all the time in the nature, right?
Yeah, sure. But let me ask you something.
Scientifically, there would be no reason to think murder is wrong.
That's fine. That's the animal kingdom. We're not talking about humans. I mean, that's not humans.
Aren't humans part of the animal kingdom?
Well, but we are a different species. We're a different species. Let's stay on topic. Let's try to stay on topic a little bit.
The animal kingdom?
Sorry,
we are. Yes, I said we are in the animal kingdom.
Like, refer to basic science again, then.
Sorry, I think you're misinterpreting what EJ said.
Yeah, I think we're speaking about different things. But let me ask you the question.
No, because from a strictly materialist view, you would look at nature.
Okay, let me ask you this question, okay? I muted you for a second because you're not listening. So I'm ask the question and then I'm going to unmute you. If you have morality from God, does that mean that everybody's behavior is going to change and suddenly start following that morality and not cause harm?
You're unmuted.
You're saying if morality comes from God, would we all of a sudden all start following God?
Right.
I'm not sure I heard your question right.
Yeah, like if everybody became a Christian of your religion, whatever your flavor of Christianity is, if everybody became of your religion and had the same set of rules given by your God, will that stop people from committing crimes? Will that stop people from causing harm?
No, but you would have a standard. You would know what the standard is because we're all sinners, and sin actually means to miss the mark. So all Christians miss the mark in some way. If we were perfect, then there would be no point to any of this.
We already have a standard.
Like, we know what the standard is, but in your worldview, you have no standard. That's the crux of my argument. So unless you can come up with
a standard that we have built over time, it's actually a stronger standard because
I would like you to address
we've actually built a stronger standard because we find that if something is causing harm within our own worldview, then we can change it. We don't have to stick to what ancient texts tell us that we should do or who we should hate or what we should, who we should enslave or anything like that, right? So we have built this social contract with each other, and we determine what is harmful and how we can avoid harm in the best way possible. And sometimes
Who is we?
we as in the collective humans.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
so
example,
you asked every human and they all agreed with you?
Well, it's a consensus of data, right? So it's the consensus of the humans
Who
that are
consented?
existing.
All humans consented?
No, not consent. Consensus.
it's a majority. A consensus is a majority.
Yeah, it's
You
like
said consensus. Oh, so if a majority believes it, then it's right?
what? Sorry, I'm confused as to what you're saying.
Oh, so first you started out with consensus, then she said majority, because I shot down consensus, right? And then she said, well, it's a majority of people. So if a majority believes something, does that make it correct?
No, so we're working towards a better world.
Right. So
right?
That's absurdity.
For ourselves, because all we have is each other. There's no evidence that there's anything outside of us, so we have to be there for each other. Does that make sense?
No, that's literally
No,
nonsense.
doesn't make sense. Okay. So let's just scrap that all together then. Okay, if that doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. I mean, people are entitled to believing what they want to believe. But now, what I want to know is, regardless of what our worldviews are, do you think you could work together with someone who is an atheist to make the world a better place?
He must have let his phone go idle. If you're still listening, we're not able to hear you right now. Make sure your phone is not idle.
I mean, we can go back and forth on all day on this. We're not going to agree on, whether or not there's a supernatural entity out there. But what I want to know is it possible?
There's no agreement. You just don't have a basis for your worldview.
Okay.
Your morality is subjective. So if I want to say in your worldview that I want to be Hitler and kill a bunch of people, there is nothing wrong with that in your worldview.
That's not true.
No, in your worldview, there wouldn't be. In ours, there would be. You're basically saying that all atheists are assholes that want to murder people.
No objective morality.
Okay, but listen, I have personally killed as many people as I want to kill, and that is 0 because I don't want to, because I'm not a bad person.
But you can't justify why you haven't in your worldview.
Yes, we can.
Because it causes harm.
It causes harm.
No, I've been waiting for over half an hour for any of you to give me an objective definition of morality.
Has it been half an hour already?
You said it's subjective.
Yeah, it is subjective.
We don't need morality
to be
objective.
Morality.
So it's subjective. So then, if it's subjective, I'm sorry, but you lose.
No, it doesn't mean we lose. Okay, so how do you prove an objective morality?
Through God. It's the impossibility of your worldview, and that's why I gave you the syllogism, either A or B.
But that is an individual thing, because you believe your interpretation of God, and the Christian next door to you believes a different interpretation of that same God and that same Bible. So it's not objective.
Like force you to believe in God, right? But I'm telling you the syllogism, either God exists or he doesn't. If he doesn't, you reduce into absurdity. And if you don't think so, then go ahead and give me objective anything in your worldview.
You're just
you failed to do it so far because it's impossible for atheists to actually come up with objectivity.
Okay, let me ask you something. How did the U.S. come up with the legal system? Is the legal system in the U.S. religiously based?
I believe, it's Judeo-Christian.
No.
The justice system, not the Constitution. And also the Constitution is not. The justice system.
Right? Do you disagree with that?
I'm asking you. Yeah, no, I don't think it did. Like, are you saying the justice system in the U.S. came from Judeo-Christian ideology?
Yeah, the values. Yes.
So we have,
In
okay,
fact,
so
so when we founded this country,
this is too
every
funny.
state in the union had rules that said that you had to be a Christian to run for
No,
office.
it did not. Well,
Yes, it
maybe
did.
maybe they used to, but that's not in the current.
No. I will wait for you to Google it right now. Just Google
Who
it.
cares? Who cares?
Say,
Like, what are you even
how
talking
many
about?
states in the
Let's
USA?
get back to no. Let's get back to what we were going to talk about. Regardless of our worldview, do you think that we can work together to make the world a better place?
Christians and atheists,
Yeah,
or just everyone?
everyone.
Well, yeah, we have to.
All right, awesome. That's what the goal
We have
is.
to.
So let's keep that the goal. Right?
Well,
I'm married to a
actually
Christian.
explain
I'm married to a
why
Christian,
your
and I'm an
atheism
atheist.
is going to
So
lead to a bad place.
how is it going to lead to a bad place?
Because he can't get objectivity. So, like, let's say that I just
Yeah, no,
don't
but
care
you know what? You're stuck in a loop
about
because
whatever
objectivity doesn't really
morality
matter.
you have.
It doesn't matter. Because the
Okay.
thing is too, is if you can't prove objective morality.
No, you need objectivity to do some chaos. So, for example, do you believe there's anything wrong with a brother and sister having sex and getting married if they can't have a baby?
What the hell are we talking about here? Like, this is really ridiculous.
That's a weird question.
This is really
Okay.
ridiculous.
In your
Let me-
your worldview, because it has no objective morality, will open itself up to all these things, and
You
it
know what?
already
Okay. You know what?
Hold
Okay.
on.
No.
So-
much.
Yeah. Hold on a second.
You're saying that
And
a
then
religious worldview, any religious worldview has objective morality because that morality comes from something outside of humans. So you're basically saying that other religions also have objective morality within their own religion. So does Islam have objective morality?
go ahead and straw man, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
saying
Raziel,
Hold on a second.
answer
Hold
the
a second.
question.
Hold on. Let's just skip all this and just say that we're going to win together here, because we just said that we have to work together to make the world a better place. So let's just do that. And I appreciate your call, Raziel. This has been an amazing talk, and hopefully we can talk again in the future.
justify any of these things, right? You can't.
Whatever you think, man.
Well,
I'm
if you
just here to work
wanna
together with you. That's it.
answer this one that's in the chat, because you say something about objective. God gives objective morality, and therefore two siblings cannot have sex with each other. How about Abraham and Sarah in the Bible? They were siblings. How did that happen in the Bible?
Was I muted this whole time? Because this guy's talking about working together, but don't you guys spend all of your time attacking Christianity?
No.
So what are you talking about?
I'm
working
married to a
together?
Christian. I'm married to a
No,
Christian.
we're
Christian
trying to
friends,
have a
family.
conversation.
I
Let's
do
not.
interfaith symposiums with people of different backgrounds and
so-
beliefs. I wrote a book about getting along.
Why would I want to work with people that have no objective morality or
You
anything?
said that we could
to
work
guide
together.
the
You said
So
we have to.
then,
said we have
you
to.
don't want to work with everybody. What you want
Well,
is
I
for
wanna
everybody to
I want you to
listen.
convert to the truth.
What?
I don't want you to live your life in.
Okay, no. You're about to start preaching, and we don't do preaching over here. So I muted you, because what you want is for everybody, even us right here. You're trying to convince us to convert to your religion. That's not fair. That's not what we're here to do. We're not even here to convince you to become an atheist.
No.
We are here to have a conversation. And if we're talking about morality, we are free to, we are happy to talk about how we can work together. But you already say that you don't want to work with us. So I don't really know what else is there to do. So I'm going to unmute you now and let you give a few words. And was there anything else before we move on?
No, so what? Am I unmuted?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, so no, what you're gonna do is cope and run away right now because you are completely unable to defend your worldview. I came here to destroy your presuppositions, and I
We
did.
did.
And the atheist worldview. And
Okay. Ooh, Steve, we're probably
I can't.
we're probably gonna be
Oh,
on
that's
this
too
Phil
funny.
Bros channel,
Oh,
and
it's so
gonna
good.
clip this. You owned us, man.
The
You
best
totally
part-
owned us.
The best
Owned.
part here is that
I
we
don't
were
have a
reaching
channel.
out.
I'm just a random
The funny
Orthodox
thing,
man.
best part is that we reached out an olive branch on multiple occasions, and you slapped it away. So I mean,
Yeah.
the internet's gonna see that, and
I mean,
gonna be
you
funny.
guys sit here and try to pick apart Christianity. I don't have a
I
channel,
don't.
bro. I'm just a random
I
Orthodox
don't
man
either.
that destroyed you.
I'm just a random man on the
Huh?
internet too.
I don't know about that. You
Yeah,
said
you
you
can't
talk
defend your
about doing
worldview.
debates earlier,
Everything's
so
subjective, right? Everything's subjective.
Everything's subjective.
Yeah, great worldview, man. Is that a true statement when you say that? Everything's subjective.
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
true?
I don't know for sure, but what I can see, everything is
I'm
subjective,
okay with
and it's
that.
working out.
Well, if you said it, you're making a truth claim, right?
No, I just said I don't know
You're
for
saying
sure,
everything is
but
subjective.
that's the
That's
way
a
that
truth
we see
I
claim.
it.
don't know
That's
means
Yeah,
that we are
I don't
not
know
sure.
means I don't know. It's a
Right. That's
word off.
hey. In
Before
philosophy, that's called
gravity was
self-defeating argument.
discovered, we didn't know. Before gravity was discovered, we didn't know how apples fell from the trees, why they went downwards, right? But then once we learned
You know
about
what?
it,
It's
we
God
knew
created you.
Oh, we
That's
found
the
out it's
only way
God
you
though.
know.
because science.
All right, man. Thanks so much for calling.
Raise
Science.
y'all.
Hey,
Thanks
but
for
you
calling.
pursue
This
all
was
sorts of
fun.
science, don't you? Like eugenics and like biology, right? I'm sure you don't even believe in biology.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore, but you know what? It's been a really fun call. And I like that at one point you said we could work together, but I really am disappointed that you said we couldn't. So I'm hoping in the future you will realize that we can. And I love you, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, have fun.
That was a fun one.
That was interesting. Okay, I jumped it.
Too funny.
Because yeah.
I mean, I can't help myself sometimes when I'm laughing out of control. So.
No, it's fine because it doesn't really matter whether he had a channel or not. Somebody in the chat mentioned that it sounded like a chat GPT sort of circular thing going on.
Yeah,
I think
at first he was when he was like getting off the screen and then coming back. I think he was checking chat GPT and then coming back or something. And then I heard like tapping in the background, so maybe he had a computer or a buddy or something. Who knows? But you know what? I really hope. I don't even care if he becomes an atheist again or whatever. I really don't care about his worldview, but I really hope that he does realize that, you know, human beings have inherent meaning to each other. Like we care about each other. We want to make the world a better place. And I hope that he also
and honestly,
agrees at some point.
I'm happy to work with theists. Like we both met April A. Joy at NanoCon. She works with Tim Whitaker. Really cool people. I've had him on my channel before. We've had really good conversations. The Monty Mader is going to be at the next NanoCon, and she's a Christian who speaks very harshly against Christian nationalism. Right here in Texas, we are currently having we just had the primaries sort of like to elect the people that are going to be voted on their general election, and one of them is James Tallarico. He's studying to be a minister, I believe, or something like that. And he's a Christian, but he's amazing. Like obviously, like aside from our different beliefs, he has really strong values that I respect. He's very pro LGBTQ people, pro abortion, etc. And it's like I don't care how he got there. He can still defend Jesus and the Bible. That's fine. But he is also extremely outspoken against for secularism, for the division of church and state, right? And he has testified in Congress for different things here in Texas, where they were trying to pass laws for the Ten Commandments in schools, for the curriculums to have biblical stuff in them, for prayer time during school hours and all of that. He's testified against every single one of them. He's like, we don't want that in public schools. He's like, I teach my kids at home and I teach my kids at church our specific religion, and everybody else should be able to freely teach their kids whatever religion they choose, or no religion at all, at home, at church, at whatever secular groups they have, etc. And I think that's the way it should be. It doesn't matter whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
You respect other people's religions, and this guy was clearly not. Sure, we do speak against the harms that come along with, especially more fundamentalist Christianity and Christian nationalism, and the extreme ideologies of certain Islamic sects, right? Because not every single Muslim person that we know is going to be like what we see in more extreme people, and not every Christian that we know is going to be a Christian nationalist.
Right.
So it's like,
and that's like, we were trying to find common ground with Raziel, and I think we can see the harm that's done if he's saying that he can't work together with us. That's harmful, so
yeah, it is.
Hopefully he'll come around.
Yeah, maybe he'll come next time that we're here.
Maybe.
Yeah, and he just kept speaking over so much that it was kind of hard to get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, he just kept using like buzzwords and stuff, and I'm like, what is he even talking about here?
Totally. Maybe it was the ADHD. I'll give him that. That sometimes you just go without the topics all at once, and you never finish the first one. That happens to me all the time. So tangents, as Ember will say.
I mean,
today's Ember's show. It's all about Ember today.
we asked him a lot of clear questions about how he got to his worldview, and he didn't really touch on it that well, so.
Like he refused to answer them, or he will like super quickly brush them off, and that's the sign of someone using a script. They can't go off the script and answer your questions, because sure, you want to stay thoroughly on topic. Like when he started going off on a completely different way, and I was like, okay, hold on, let's go back, because that just took a U-turn, not even a right turn. So that was interesting. I mean, it's good practice, of course. Yeah. But I thought like the idea of morality, as far as, I won't cover too much because next week we're talking about morality. But like the idea that atheists are just rule-free people who can do whatever the fuck they want is so silly. Yeah. Because we do have methods that are pretty fail-proof, like science. Obviously science is not perfect, but there is a process that you can take to where you can come to like the best outcome that you can hope for. And we have ways of determining whether something is causing harm to another person. And if we're using that as the main tool to determine what is right and what is wrong, I think it's a pretty good place to start.
It is.
And say, like if I say, hey, let's chop off your finger today, and you're like, well, that's gonna hurt, and I'm gonna have to have surgery and blah blah blah. Then like, okay, we know. Okay, yeah, no, we probably don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to bring up John Rawls' Veil of Ignorance. But he wanted to stick to his script.
Yeah, he spoke over Rion.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's a good way to design a system where you're on the other side of the system looking in, and if you want to make everything fair for everyone, not knowing who you're going to be on the other side, you're going to design a fair system. And I think that's what secular humanism is doing. We're relying on the principles of empathy, compassion, scientific understanding, and trying to reduce harm in the world as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. And I think that's a really good method of determining that we don't really need objective morality. And I think he completely missed the point of like, okay, you think you have objective morality from your God. The person standing next to you who has a different religion, even a different flavor of Christianity, is going to have a completely different set of objective morality, and they are also going to consider it objective to themselves. And I'm like, and that's why us as atheists, we're like, okay, I don't believe in a God, but I believe in humans, and I believe in humanism and humanity and reduction of harm. Obviously, there's no way to do harm-free humanism. You might want to call it, right? So, but we try to do the least amount of harm that we can manage with whatever decision we make. Sometimes we fail. Sometimes,
Yeah.
We eat a lot of food and we harm ourselves and make ourselves too chunky or make our stomach hurts or,
Yeah. We have a chat there, curvy letter. Sean, yeah, thanks so much for being here. And yeah, it's true. Atheism only tells people what we don't believe. That's why I wanted to get his definition of what atheism was, because when he's saying that atheism doesn't make sense or whatever, I'm like, so what is atheism exactly? And then when he defined it as the lack of belief in a deity, everything kind of went to shit at that point, because what is it that you're actually denying there? Like, it just didn't make any sense right from the get-go. I was trying to entertain him. I was trying to draw more out of him, but it didn't seem to go the way that we wanted it to. That's okay.
Yeah, that's a good point what you just brought up. Like, there are atheists and there are humanist atheists, and it's a different thing. Definitely a different thing. Because you can have atheists. I did a show, a 3-hour show last night with one of the crew members called The Atheist. It's probably gonna drop tomorrow. But we were talking, we were reviewing a video by a fellow atheist who had some really terrible, harmful things to say. And we were really disappointed. And so we were reviewing the video. And it's like, that's exactly like, okay, we are atheists. We can call out other atheists who are doing harm. And that's okay. Yeah. I don't feel mad about that, because it's like, I call all harm no matter who's doing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So,
well, that was fun though. I liked that. No, it was a fun call.
Yeah, I know. I kind of like the spicy ones. It was a good break. I'm sorry, no break. A good balance, because we had 2 really good calls, and then this one that went. By the way, it was good, but in a different way. In a spicy kind of way. There it is. Cool, the atheist who did that show with me. So cool. I get my morals from my solipsism. I am a brain in a jar, and so is everybody else's. You know what? I have the brain of a child in a jar on my desk. Stephen King, by the way. So speaking of morality, I'm trying to look at the schedule right here real quick. So
what's the one coming up for next week? Yeah,
just remember that. And I was like, I should probably advertise it. So next week, right here, same day, same time, Thursdays, 7 p.m. Central, we have this show, Critical Call. And I bring on different guests to talk about. We try to usually keep topics that are sort of related to religion, but not as much as like the atheist typical call-in shows. And so next week we're going to have J.R. Warren, and he studied forensic psychology. And so I want to talk to him about like real life crime and morality, and like how that affects the brain, and how our brains are actually what, drive our morality. I wish we could have gotten to that point, but it was just going so badly that I didn't even got to bring that up. I'm sure he would have just been like, well, that's your own brain, kind of thing. Then this Saturday is a new show for Skeptic Haven called The Thought Experiment, and it is a debate show. And in that episode, we are going to have John W. Loftus. I could read Loftus. Okay. I'm not familiar with him. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I met him at BajaCon last year, actually. Really nice person.
Really person. Okay, so, cool.
Yeah, he wrote a few books.
All right. Oh, he wrote books. Nice. So he is the skeptic in the debate, and then he's going to be debating a Catholic priest named James Gad, G-A-D, not God, on the topic of the problem of evil. And the moderator is going to be Jim Barrows. So that's going to be really fun. And speaking of Jim Barrows, he's a bit busy this weekend, because then on Sunday, the following day, he's going to be on Let's Talk, which comes on at 7 p.m. Central, with Ember, yay, and Jim Barrows. Nice. Right, so that's going to be a good combo. Yeah, I like that.
I love Jim's voice.
Yeah, nice, there's some good voices in there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have the Timo Seth Andrews voice, and
Well, I can do Seth Andrews, but not very well. I can do
Not
Jordan
too well.
Peterson better than that. So,
Oh, do it.
well, what do you mean by believe? The metaphysical constructs that are yeah, Kermit the Frog.
I can only do. I have all the best words. Only
that?
I can word.
I can do all the SpongeBob voices, but I'm not going to scare everyone tonight.
Oh, okay. That's probably a good idea. All right. We're going on 2 hours. Was there anything else you wanted to? Yeah, the time has flew by. I'm gonna have you back because this was a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Well, I do have on Sunday that podcast dropping, Irrational podcast, which is not mine. It's owned by it's a Christian who runs the channel, and I spoke with a Christian apologist. And if you liked kind of the way that I was handling the call tonight, that's the way that I handled that chat. So it's kind of fun.
That's cool.
I have on Sunday as well with the St. Louis Ethical Society. I'm doing a presentation for them. Shoot, now I can't remember. I think it's 12 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So I think that's 11 a.m. Central. I think it's an hour difference. Anyway, if anyone wants to pop into that, you can follow me on Facebook, and I'll have the links and everything there.
Okay,
and you can check out my website, stevejacatis.com. It's relatively new, so don't judge me. It's still a work in progress, and that's just like me as well.
We all should be always a work in progress. The moment you stop working on yourself, you become stagnant. Yeah, that's not a good idea. So the chat people, really good. Thank you everybody in the chat for hanging out. Always really cool to read the comments at the bottom and sometimes laugh and stuff like that. So that was fun. And then we have the Patreons who include Karen Butcher, Logan Fisher, Amanda McLeod, I think I pronounced that right, Rion, Dan D, The Bible Says, What? Sunny Show, and Phil Calderone. Okay, and then generally we also have the channel subscribers who include, okay, there it goes. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Kelly Laughlin, Logan Fisher, Cynthia McDonald, Infidel, Angela, Stop the Stupidity, Skeptical Scott, and
Scott.
Tons of mice. Oh, Scott is great. Yeah, I love him.
Skeptical Scott's one of my really good friends. We see each other a lot in real life because we live pretty close to each other.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did a podcast with him recently on his platform. If people want to go check it out.
Nice, yeah. And people always confuse us for brothers because we look very similar.
You do. Yeah.
Maybe we're the same person.
Maybe you're twins. Maybe you're like separated at birth.
Yeah.
Or something like that, So that was cool. Oh, Jason Freer in the chat says that Steve forgot to mention that he gives some of the best hugs too.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
That is true. I got one of those, so I can corroborate the validity of that statement.
Yeah, my son and I actually have a free hug sign, and we'll go out to places like parks and stuff and set up and just give free hugs. So, now that I know that my hugs are that valuable, maybe I'll start charging for them.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Jason.
And Helen says you can rap.
Yeah, a little bit.
You can. I think we need proof of that.
Well, I don't know. Is there copyright infringement laws here? If we were
a
little bit of Ice Ice Baby or something,
Collaborate
and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, fold like a harpoon, daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the mic and I'll glow to the extreme like a mic, like a candle. Light up a stage and wax to chomp like a vandal. Dance.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go.
That deserves a clap. That's awesome.
90s style,
I love it. Oh yeah, 90s is the best era that
Green
we
Day.
have.
Want to mention Green Day?
Green Day. Close to my heart all the time. You know that.
Yeah.
All right. It was a pleasure working with you, Steve, and I look
Always.
forward to the next time. So, okay, yeah, we are gonna go ahead and finish up the show. Thank you, everybody. Like, we just advertise all the stuff that's coming up, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Love you all.
That's our time tonight on Critical Call. To everyone who called in, argued in good faith, and challenged ideas, thank you. This show works because you show up ready to think, to question, and to defend what you believe. If you didn't get through tonight, don't worry. Our lines will be open again next episode at 984-400-5656. So save the number, bring your best argument, and step into the conversation.